Aloha, and welcome to Atlas Insurance Agency's Risky Business Podcast. I'm Shane Choi, Account Executive with Atlas Insurance. I'd like to introduce you to Evelyn Hara, Director of HEMIC Subsidiaries, and Boyd Kauhane, Marketing Manager for Zephyr Insurance Company.
Thank you.
Evelyn, can you just tell us a little bit about the age-old question that all us insurance people ask each other? How did you get into insurance?
Great question. And thank you for having me. Really appreciate the opportunity. I was one of the unique people who wanted to get into insurance. I actually took a class in math and economics when I was studying in my undergrad, and we talked about the actuarial science behind insurance. And I thought it was really interesting how it all kind of tied together. So yeah, made me kind of want to pursue this career, and it's been great to me so far.
Well, it's good to hear that. It's a very refreshing take on how you got into insurance. And how about you, Boyd?
So I've been in sales my entire professional career. What intrigued me initially about insurance was the idea of being an agent. So I had my own Allstate agency prior to going to Zephyr. But I like the thought of maintaining relationships with the clients, building a long-term and having that renewal income coming in. So it's kind of what got me started. I transitioned to the carrier side after, and here we are today.
Different perspectives, right?
A little bit different perspectives inside and outside of the house. So
that's good
very interesting.
Yeah, we have people with different experiences, different, professional experience too. So we appreciate you guys coming on the podcast. Evelyn, can you just tell me a little bit about, your passion for insurance? I know a lot of us have been in the industry for a long time, but just tell us a little bit about, what you do at HIMI or HEMIC and, just how you feel about it.
Yeah. After I graduated, I really wanted to go down this path like I kind of talked about earlier. And actually started with HIMI 12 years ago now, and it's been a really good company to me. We have a lot of great people, and I really enjoy being able to help people in a different way. Insurance is really important and helps people during their most difficult times. So really like to look at how we can give back in a different way.
Yeah, it's very heartwarming to hear that. That insurance is out there to help, right? A lot of times we hear the opposite. So it's good to have your guys' experience. How about you, Boyd?
So for me, I enjoy the process of being in the company. I maintain the relationships with all our carrier partners. A lot of what I do is connecting to our market. So hearing the needs from our carriers and trying to see how we can, develop or manipulate our products to fit market needs. As we all seen after Lahaina, the markets have really shrunk as far as what their appetite is. So at Zephyr, we've been working a lot to develop to see where we can take on expanded portions of the market in a challenging time.
And with that in mind, just tell us a little bit about Zephyr's history.
Sure.
And, just how you guys have, come into the market and what you guys are doing today.
So Zephyr we were celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. So that's, a big accomplishment. And it was a transition from the original HHRF program, where after Hurricane Iniki, a lot of the carriers vacated the market. So it created, again, that challenging market, difficult times, no carriers supporting. State created the HHRF fund to alleviate that. So again, we're seeing that now with what we're going to talk about today, where the market has been struggling with a certain capacity. The HHRF has been reactivated.
Thank you for giving us a little history there. Evelyn, can you tell us a little bit about HIMI or HEMIC?
Yeah, absolutely. HEMIC, or Hawaii Employers Mutual Insurance Company, is the largest workers' compensation insurance carrier in Hawaii. We're also the guarantee market. And through our subsidiary HIMI, HEMIC Insurance Managers, we're able to provide other types of insurance options to round out that workers' compensation piece. We also have another subsidiary, EPIC, or Employers Protective Insurance Company, to provide that TDI. So we can kind of round out all of your commercial accounts, provide that service. Yeah.
And thank you for all that you do for the agencies and, of course, the community, supporting, local businesses, local companies. Why are we here today? Right? We're talking about Hawaiʻi Hurricane Relief Fund, or HHRF for short. Tell us, at least from your perspective, Boyd, let's start with you. Why did HHRF come into existence beforehand? Why now?
So again, the original HHRF came into existence because there was a void after Hurricane Iniki in coverage. It has been reactivated again, because of last year we saw the surge in AOAO hurricane pricing, which, it's all over the news. Now Insurance Commissioner Scott Psyche was holding town halls at McKinley. Average HO6 condo owners were seeing their monthly maintenance fees rise, several hundreds to $1,000 to cover that gap, because all the buildings needed to get fully insured to be able to have mortgages taken out on those properties in those buildings. So, that pressure, for a lot of people, coming up with an extra $1,000 a month, was almost unlivable. So the state took action, reactivated the HHRF fund to help the community.
Nice. Thank you so much. Both of you, actually, Evelyn, can you tell us a little bit about, your experiences? So how did you get into HHRF, or how did HIMI get into HHRF, and then same thing with Zephyr?
Yeah, sure, of course. As we've kind of been in this hard property market and trying to find solutions to address, kind of all the coverage needs and provide a affordable option, I know that a lot of folks have been kind of working towards solution from across our industry landscape, as well as the legislators, carriers, as well as agents that have been participating to kind of, brainstorm ideas, what's going to make the most sense. I know that there was a property working group that was formed, trying to get what's going to make the most sense and have the most impact and really address the need now, right? So I know that all of these efforts kind of culminated with the governor's emergency proclamation to address the property market crisis for condos, and just, with HEMIC and HIMI being solution oriented, trying to help the Hawaii marketplace and our people here, we really wanted to be part of that solution.
Thank you. And Boyd, can you tell us a little about how you guys got involved as well?
So for Zephyr, we were always, like I mentioned earlier, we were trying to, find a solution in a challenging market. And we're actually launching our own commercial products line at the end of this year. So we are venturing into the condo association market with an admitted product, hopefully again by the end of the year. It was a natural transition for us for the hurricane, simply because that is a large portion of Zephyr's business. So we are still the largest independent hurricane carrier in Hawaii, and underwriting of the condos and the associations kind of falls in line with what our underwriters do on a day-to-day basis. So it was a natural transition for us.
Thank you. I know when this HHRF program was first introduced, there's a lot of uncertainties as far as how does one apply? How does the association get quotes? How do they get coverage in place? How do they fill out an application? Maybe from the beginning to the end, Evelyn, can you provide us just what would be the procedure for an association, let's say a board member, to go through in order to get the process started?
Yeah, absolutely. So first step is going to be to contact their insurance agent. Mm-hmm. That's going to be always their go-to. That's their partner and their resource that they're going to be able to rely on to help them through the process, whether it's property with a hurricane, HHRF, or anything else that they would need. So they can contact their insurance agent, who can help them complete the application, which is available on the DCCA website, as well as fill out any additional forms that are required or additional documentation. The agent can kind of coordinate all of that. So it's very important to partner with a very good agent. And then they'll kind of work with the servicing facility. So that's HIMI or Zephyr, to obtain the quote. If it, meets the eligibility guidelines, all of that, the agent will kind of work with us, and then move forward from there. So first step, AOAO just need to contact their agent.
So whoever their current agent is, they can approach that agent. Is it are all agents able to get a quote from HHRF? So
something that's special about the HHRF current program is that any licensed agent who's licensed in Hawaii is able to submit. We don't have to, we're trying to find the easiest way for them to be able to obtain a quote. So anybody who's licensed here can submit to HIMI or Zephyr, and then help their client from there.
Oh, I appreciate the flexibility that you guys put together. You mentioned eligibility. What are some of the eligibility guidelines or things that an association has to qualify before they can get a quote?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I mentioned on their website, there are specific guideline criteria that has it all kind of detailed out, but kind of the biggest key highlights that they should be aware of They have to have kind of pursued an option through the private market and obtain at least 2 declinations from a Hawaii licensed insurance carrier. Their agent can help with that as well. The property value has to be over 10 million in value. So really looking at the larger condos. And a couple other things that we wanted to make sure to point out is it is for the residential condos. They have to be at least 50% residentially occupied. And they still have to have coverage in place for their non-hurricane property coverages. Yeah.
Certainly a lot to consider, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think that's the value of having an insurance agent to kind of just organize it for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know it's a lot for you guys too. So we appreciate, again, all that you guys do as the servicing facilities. I'm sure it can be easy. Hundreds, maybe almost thousands of submissions. Actually, on that note, Boyd, can you tell us about how many quotes or how many applications were sent in, how many quotes were given, how many were gotten in place?
Right now we're right around 100 quotes, seeing a buying rate of about 20%. So I will say that the HHRF did work as it was intended, where the market on the E&S side shifted their price points almost immediately. So from what we've been hearing, a lot of the associations are seeing a savings somewhere around 60%. Another big thing was she mentioned that the associations need a minimum of 10 million, but some of those associations, they didn't need much more. They're, maybe needed 12 to 15 million. A big change on that E&S market side has been that the minimum premiums also adjusted rapidly. So it made that small bit of coverage a lot more affordable. So I think that's, a lot of good steps from the program.
Yeah. As far as underwriting, so underwriting meaning, what information do they have to provide? What kind of information do associations need to provide in order to get a quote?
A lot of times we just get most of the information off of the underlying policies. So as long as they're able to secure coverage for their master policy, the hurricane, it's usually a simpler form to write simply because it's a single peril. There's not the risk, the risk is coming in. We're not worried about water, plumbing, electrical in the building. Is a hurricane coming? Is it going to hit? And what's the damage? So I think from an underwriting standpoint, again, it's just a lot simpler than writing a master policy, which is their primary insurance go-to.
That's true. Evelyn, can you tell us a little bit about, I know as an insurance agent, I've seen the agents complete like a spreadsheet. Like what kind of information do they need to provide on that spreadsheet?
Yeah. Like Boyd had kind of mentioned, it's pretty straightforward. So it's very basic property information. So obviously the address, the name of the AOAO, but as well as, the construction type, how old is the building, the year built, number of stories, some kind of pretty straightforward, simple information. And if, the AOAO board doesn't have it on hand, it's something their agent can pull up pretty easily.
Nice. Going back to, just the effect on the community, do you guys have any stories you can share with us as far as just maybe the average or typical homeowner, how it's benefited them, or if you've heard any specific experiences from the typical homeowner? Boy.
I think for me, it was just the quick drop in premium and then that adjustment on the minimum premium that really helped a lot of people. And so we've actually been seeing it on our end, like buildings that weren't insured to value, and we're falling into like a little bit of a compliance issue with Fannie and Freddie Mac. They've been trying to see if they can now come up with kind of a coverage to cover them temporarily. So a short-term plan, if you will, from, if they renew next April, can they get covered from now to April? And I think the program itself is also adapting quickly. So the HHRF board is constantly talking about ways to improve the program. For the community, price point, again, it's helped save a lot of the people. And then the ones that didn't take up the program, they're also seeing a savings because the HHRF program was not designed to be the primary insurance carrier in Hawaii. They were designed as a way to offer a price conscious, if you will, solution to the market. And I think that in its main goal, that has really helped the citizens of Hawaii.
Thank you, Boyd. Evelyn, do you have any experiences you can share on just the benefits that you've seen?
Yeah, absolutely. maybe it's more of a personal story. So one of our relatives lives in one of the condos here in Hawaii, and I know that they've been kind of seeing the impact with the pricing increases. So I think they were saying that their insurance policy, from what they understood, renewals were looking at like $300,000 in premium, and then quotes were coming in at $1 million if they were able to get, kind of options that were available, which meant that they were having to be assessed that difference because they didn't have the funds, throughout the years through their maintenance or association fees. So hopefully, by moving forward with an HHRF policy, maybe in the future, they would have a little bit of relief because, at the end of the day, payments have to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. And it's hard to push it down onto unit owners who some are on fixed incomes. Right. Some, just don't have the capacity to be able to put up something like a $20,000 assessment. Yeah. So, yeah.
As far as, I think one of the questions that it's commonly asked, is there any payment plans available for the HHRF program?
So not currently, doesn't mean it couldn't change in the future, but currently the board, has voted to kind of require the payment up front. Especially being in the midst of hurricane season and the sense of urgency to get it up and running, want to make sure that, we're not running into issues and which would also cause delays with being able to stand up the program in the first place by building in additional procedures should, a non-pay issue come up.
That's good to know. As far as going back to, how associations can prepare for hurricane season, what's one piece of advice you would have them take a look at or do before hurricane season? Well, I guess we're technically in hurricane season, but the next season that comes around beforehand, what do you suggest that they do?
Absolutely to talk to their agent. If they have any special projects planned or improvements that they're looking at, make sure that their agents are aware so that they're adequately covered.
Thanks. Yeah. Good suggestion. Boyd, do you have anything?
I think for us, it ties into even our individual homeowners where it's just be prepared for hurricane season. So we always, Zephyr, we're very active because that's our primary market. We do the disaster fairs, things like that, having your 14-day supplies, knowing what to do in the event of a oncoming cat. So we stress that a lot. It's just preparedness, have your water, your toilet paper, your medicine, all that fun stuff.
Go bag, right? Yeah. Practical things.
Don't run to Costco on the last day.
Yeah. Especially not Costco, you'd be late, right?
There you go.
Make sure your gas tank is filled.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'll also get gas at Costco as well.
Yeah.
Cheapest. I'm not peddling Costco, if you're wondering. What is one myth you'd like to bust about hurricane insurance? Do you have any?
For me, a big challenge has been we've taken significant rate in the last 2 years, and I think all the hurricane and property insurance carriers, and I know a lot of people question that, but as far as being what we call an admitted carrier, all rate increases are approved by the DOI, and every carrier has to show, a causal effect to why that rate is increasing. So as costs go up, no carrier can just raise rates without approval, I will say that, unless they're an E&S carrier, which is what the HHRF is primarily competing against in that market. So that's, I think, one rumor that a lot of people don't, they don't feel that, I guess rates are always a touchy subject.
Yeah. And DOI, Department of Insurance, right?
Department of Insurance, correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about, just going back to, I guess, a personal standpoint, what do you like to do for fun?
Me, I love to cook. That gets my creative energy out. I don't really follow recipes. I don't measure. I just kind of throw things in the pot and hopefully it works. So, but I enjoy that. It's always fun to feed people, when you do it right, they get enjoyment out of it. Everybody got to eat. So yeah, it's kind of one of my things.
I'm sure your family must be happy with that as well.
They're always happy.
I'm more of an instant pot or crock pot kind of guy. So just do it all together and see how it comes out. Evelyn, can you tell us maybe as far as hurricane insurance, what it covers, what's the common misconception that you see?
A lot of people may not realize that there are specific definitions of a hurricane. So it's important to read their policy, and if not, talk to your agent and they can kind of help walk you through that. Because you're going to think, oh, okay, something happened. I have my insurance and maybe it's covering something different than what you realized.
Yeah.
So something to be aware of. Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I've kind of come to know is that hurricane insurance can kind of be different from the flood insurance, right? Mm-hmm. And can you just explain a little bit about that? Like how is that specified, or like what's the practical difference between like hurricane insurance and flood? Because I know flood has like a very specific definition, but just putting it in simple terms.
That's what I would refer to reviewing your policy. While there is kind of a standard on what a hurricane is defined as, there could be specific differences. So, be a little dangerous to be too generalized, but that's where the agent is so important to help explain in a way that the client will understand. Right.
That's true.
We don't want to use too many technical terms and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, speaking from an agent standpoint, I think hurricane insurance is like the wind, windstorm, hurricane winds, and then flood insurance or flood is like, from the ground up, water coming down from the ground, right? Damaging property.
Yeah.
So enough talking about insurance. We'll probably talk just a little bit more about insurance to end. But how about you? What's something you like to do for fun?
Well, I do like to eat, so that's always good. But we also have 2 dachshunds that keep us pretty busy. They're pretty young, so they're pretty rascally, and gotta spend a lot of time taking them for walks and making sure they're fed and not tearing up the house too much. So
that is a full-time job for sure. I have a puppy myself, so definitely tearing it up at home. So we appreciate you guys just giving us details on the Hawaiʻi Hurricane Relief Fund, and just to kind of wrap it up, where can the community find resources for HHRF details? Is there a website?
So on the DCCA website, I find the easiest way to get there is just Google HHRF or Hawaiʻi Hurricane Relief Fund, and it should pop right up. They'll be able to read through all the details, the history of the HHRF, as well as download any forms, applications, details, as well as read through the FAQ. That's always a great resource. They can also watch prior board recordings on there because it is public information. So if they're curious, have a little bit of free time, they're open to doing that. Yeah.
I've asked you too many questions, so just ask me one question each. Boyd.
What do you like to do for fun?
Since I don't have much time these days, I guess take the dog for a walk. And after I give the dog a walk, I give the dog a bath because the paws get dirty.
Absolutely, right? You got to wipe them down.
Yep. Full on bath. Evelyn?
Maybe this is a little more insurance related, but
it's completely fine.
What are like the top 3 questions that you get from the AOAOs regarding their insurance program?
Well, one of them I would say is, why do we need HO6 insurance? Answer, of course, is HO6 insurance covers improvements, contents, loss of use. You guys know what it covers, but basically it's 2 different things. They're meant to be supplementary or complementary to each other. Another thing, sorry, I'm having a brain fart here.
I should have just said, what's the number one thing?
Number one thing, that's okay. Deductibles, right? Deductible is important to understand. So I believe the deductibles kind of are based off of a percentage, and then percentage is applied to what's called the total insurable value of the building contents coverage, right? An insurance agent can probably get into further details about that, but I think those are 2 very specific things that people ask about. But of course, the biggest one is how much does it cost, right? And that's something that each community board member can check with their insurance agent on. So, did you guys want to share with us any details as far as if you guys have social media or marketing that you guys want to share?
I mean, for us, we're on Instagram, Facebook under Zephyr Insurance. Please feel free to give us a follow.
Yeah, we're also online on Facebook as well as LinkedIn, active under HIMI as well as HEMIC and EPIC.
Well, thank you so much again for joining us today. My name is Shane Choi. I have Evelyn Hara here and Boyd Kauhane. And thank you so much for being here with us today to talk about HHRF.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.